Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. We're going to tackle something that every single one of us experiences, yet honestly, very few of us actually understand. Just think about your week for a second. Have you had days where you feel this unstoppable drive, like you're ready to conquer the world and check off literally every box on your to-do list? And then have you had other days where you feel completely burned out, or maybe just perfectly content to sit quietly doing nothing? Well, this universal struggle between feeling incredibly driven and completely still isn't just some quirk of your personality. It actually comes down to a really fascinating biological balance. So, what controls your drive and your calm? I want you to really think about that. We so often attribute our motivation to external factors, right? Like a looming deadline, a super inspiring quote, or, let's be real, a strong cup of coffee. And we tend to attribute our calm to a quiet room or a good night's sleep. But the actual control center is entirely internal. In this explainer, we're going to frame everything around your brain's internal messaging system so we can finally understand the invisible forces steering your day. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our agenda. Basically, the tale of the tape for our cast of chemical characters. First up, your brain's messengers. Second, dopamine, the high five. Third, serotonin, the break. And finally, balancing drive and calm. Let's get to it.
Section 1. Your brain's messengers. Meet the cast.
We are talking about neurotransmitters. Quite simply, these are the brain's messengers that dictate human behavior and emotional states. I really want to establish this clinical baseline right out of the gate so we're totally clear on this. When we discuss your drive or your burnout, we are actually simplifying some highly complex brain chemistry. These messengers are basically the biological couriers running back and forth inside your head, delivering the signals that ultimately become your actions and your feelings. And these internal messengers operate as a complete, interconnected system. They dictate human behavior, they govern our emotional states, they dictate our daily motivation, and they regulate our tranquility. From your absolute biggest, most explosive bursts of energy, all the way down to your quietest, most peaceful moments of deep tranquility, it all stems from the signals these chemicals are sending out. They're the true architects of your everyday experience. All right, Section 2, dopamine, the high five. Dopamine, this is your motivation and reward signal. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how directly it links those two things together, motivation and reward. They aren't separate functions in the brain. Dopamine is the chemical completely responsible for making you want to do something, but it's also the exact same chemical that makes you feel good when you actually accomplish it. Think of it as your internal high five. Literally, picture a high-energy hand appearing in your mind, giving your brain a stinging, incredibly enthusiastic high five for a job well done. When you finish a tough task, when you solve a complex problem, when you win a game, you know that rush you feel? That is dopamine. It's your brain screaming, yes, we did it. That was awesome. And because that high five feels so incredibly good, dopamine acts as a powerful internal incentive system. It sets up a biological reward structure right in your mind, aggressively pushing you to seek out that feeling again and again. You want to study harder to get the grade? That's the incentive system. You want to run that extra mile to hit your fitness goal? That's dopamine whispering, go get that reward. It is pure, unadulterated drive. Ultimately, this reward signal encourages you to repeat specific actions. The entire purpose of this chemical high five is to guarantee you keep executing those driven, motivated, productive behaviors. It wants you to survive, to thrive, and to just keep pushing forward. But as amazing as relentless action is, you can't sprint forever without burning out completely, right? You need something to slow you down. Which brings us to Section 3, serotonin, the break. Serotonin is the mood and calm signal. If dopamine is a jumping, highly energetic high five, I want you to picture serotonin as a quiet, seated character resting in a meditation pose. This is the messenger that governs your overall mood. It isn't about chasing the next big win. It's entirely about finding peace and deep contentment right in the present moment. It acts as the brain's brake. When your mind starts spinning out of control, when you're stressed, overstimulated, or just running way too hot from all that dopamine, serotonin steps in. It gently, but very firmly, pulls the brake. It slows the racing thoughts and brings the RPMs of your brain back down to a manageable, peaceful idle. So, the crucial point is that serotonin acts as a stabilizing force. It's the perfect, absolutely necessary counterweight to the internal incentive system we were just talking about. Without this stabilizing force, all that high energy would just spin us straight into chaos and anxiety. Serotonin smooths everything out, providing a really solid foundation of emotional stability. By pulling that brake, serotonin directly promotes emotional regulation. When you're feeling emotionally balanced, when little annoyances just bounce right off of you instead of completely ruining your entire day, that's serotonin doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It helps you manage your mood so you can actually achieve that elusive state of tranquility. Practically speaking, it helps you stay patient. The very next time you're sitting in a long line of traffic or waiting for some incredibly slow website to load, and you manage to just take a deep breath and wait without losing your temper, congratulate your serotonin. That patience is the direct result of this calming messenger pulling the brake and keeping you perfectly regulated.
Section 4. Balancing drive and calm.
And this brilliantly illustrates the entire dynamic. This is the ultimate head-to-head matchup: motivation and reward versus mood and calm. Action versus patience. You absolutely need dopamine to get out of bed, to achieve your ambitious goals, and to feel the thrill of success. But you equally need serotonin to be happy with what you have, to remain patient, and to find lasting, sustainable peace. The core takeaway here is that human biology naturally balances drive with patience. By breaking this down into the high five and the break, we basically simplify complex brain chemistry into actionable insights. It perfectly explains our intense experiences of motivation, and it equally explains our deep experiences of tranquility. Understanding this interplay is the absolute key to mastering your everyday feelings of burnout or boundless drive. Which leaves me with one final question as we wrap up this explainer. I want you to think about how you feel right in this exact moment. Is your brain currently giving you a high five or pulling the brake? Reflect on that internal chemistry for a bit. I really hope this framework has helped you visualize your own mind a bit more clearly today. Thank you so much for learning with me, and hey, keep paying attention to those internal messengers.